4, 3, 2.
Welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Experience podcast with your hosts, Anesto and Pablo Morado.
What up?
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. We're here for the first time doing an experimental outboard broadcast in the middle of Narnia. This was very interesting and very new. So if things are not going exactly as planned, it's because this is an experimental, what do you call it? Podcast.
Yeah, experimental podcast.
An experimental experiment. So before we get into the good stuff, because I have a lot of good stuff here, one thing I wanted to mention is because you know how YouTube is constantly monitoring what's being put on and censoring and all that stuff. So for the first 10 minutes of our podcast, we're going to have to be a little censored, I would say.
Benign.
A little benign, right. So this is a little intro. This would I use this time to recap. Normally, when we do this podcast, we haven't spoken to each other all week or seen each other all week. So we tend to recap what's going on in our lives, see what's going on, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. And it allows us to stay on YouTube without them knowing that we're talking about.
So we're technically flying under the radar.
Exactly. It's a way to just avoid YouTube detection. So, since the last podcast, what was the last thing? When was our last podcast? It's been a little while, right? It's been like...
I've been 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. So what's happened between now and 2 weeks ago?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on. You know, I heard two countries in Europe want to join NATO. I think it's Finland. I don't know if it's Finland and Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
They want to join NATO. But if they do accept them, that's going to exacerbate Putin to escalate the war, because this is what he's trying. This is what he's rallying against. Now, you can't quote me on that. So I don't know if you can research on your computer, being that we're doing this experiment.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, like what's been going on, not in the world, but what's been going on with you in the last
with me. Okay, no, it's been I've been sprucing up the property.
It looks wonderful, by the way. I don't know if the audience can see, but right behind you is a lush forest behind you, and that's
so. I did some cleaning. I did some edging on the front. I seeded some of the property with some rue, some peppermint, spearmint. I also put flowers. I'm doing it from seeds. So, being that we're living in the internet age, it's like I planted it yesterday, and I'm already looking to see if it's growing.
Well, it's not an Amazon package. You can't get overnight shipment on that.
Yeah. So that's a problem, because I'm so used to getting everything I want ASAP.
Well, that's good. At least you're gardening. I mean, a lot of people don't have that opportunity to do that, and it's good, especially the way the world's going. At least you can grow some things that you can use and need and whatever. You know what's something I heard that is good to have? Fruit. Like grow some kind of fruit.
Well, I have an apple tree. I have a plum tree. We did raspberries and blueberries. I believe, out in the front. And we are currently working getting on a pear tree.
A pear tree. And that can survive like a harsh winter?
Yeah. Peaches, pears, apples can survive the cold.
You know what my sister-in-law, what she just got in her backyard? Chickens.
Ah.
And she's like, she didn't expect all the eggs that she would get. So now she's like handing out eggs to the neighbors and eating eggs more often. Because they lay eggs apparently every 2 days or something like that.
You see, I would like to have some chickens, and I have the property for it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the chickens is that I fear is that the chicken feed might attract my nemesis, which are mice and rats.
But you know what? I hear that chickens are like fierce predators, and they actually would eat any like mice or rats that come around. They'll actually kill them. Better than cats do.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to research that because what I would like is to raise pheasants. But I hear pheasants are difficult to raise unless you cage them up somehow because they like to run away from the property. Unlike chickens that they stick around.
So here I have this little. Let me share this with you guys.
Yeah, so basically what I've been doing is just sprinkling up. I still got a lot to do.
So it says here, is it safe for chickens to eat mice? Walking in on your chickens brutally devouring a small creature can be upsetting, but many chicken farmers have been through this and generally nothing to worry about. We typically think of chickens as herbivorous creatures, or we just think that all they eat is chicken feed and table scraps. Yes, chickens do eat mice, and it's important to remember that at one point in time, chickens were actually wild creatures that could survive on their own without the help of humans. Deep down, they're omnivores, and chickens are ready to eat just about anything you put in front of them. Under normal circumstances, eating a mouse is perfectly normal behavior and doesn't pose a danger to your chickens, unless you have recently laid out a lot of mouse and rat poison nearby. Eating a mouse will not make your chickens sick. In fact, there are quite a few reasons why mice are an excellent supplement to your chicken's diet. So apparently, chickens eat mice, and you don't have to give them that standard feed. They eat all kinds of things. They're omnivores. So
fucking interesting.
Something to think about it. If you want chickens, and then you always have eggs, and on the fortunate event that you need food for that too, So it's something to think about. And I don't know, my sister-in-law, she has three. She has three chickens in her backyard, and she seems to enjoy it.
She has 3 hens. Does she have a rooster?
No rooster.
And how are they continuously laying eggs without the rooster?
Because chickens lay eggs with they. It's like a chicken laying eggs is like their period.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a period. Like you don't need a rooster for a chicken to lay eggs. Now, doesn't mean that the eggs that they lay are viable chickens, right? They need a rooster to have a viable chicken, but they lay eggs regardless.
Mm. So what you're saying is they lay eggs without a rooster, but that won't necessarily
It's like a
transform
period,
into a chicken.
right? It's like a period. There's nothing in there. It's like how women they pass their eggs through their period.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept, except it's just chicken eggs.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they constantly.
I wonder how your sister-in-law deals with the poop smell.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been to her house since she had the chickens in her backyard, but she seems to enjoy it, and she says that they're hard to keep in the freaking coop because they keep. She's like, with all that nonsense that chickens can't fly, chickens can actually fly. She's like, she's seen them.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, she can't keep them in the fence because they keep flying over. And that one time, they lost the chicken and it was running around throughout the neighborhood, and it was like rainy, and it started to like waddle its way back home because it knew that the chicken coop was.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if I had chickens on the property here, you'll see that they'll fly up into the branches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how they roost. Turkeys too.
Oh, really?
Turkeys can fly kind of high.
You know, in New Jersey, I've seen turkeys wild just roaming around.
Oh yeah.
Like that was wild to me. Like in my neighborhood, because I live in a pretty like urban suburban area, and
you saw wild turkeys
roaming the street.
They could be pretty vicious.
Yeah, I was like surprised to see one at all, really. But yeah, in my area of Jersey, and that and bears. I've seen chickens, bears. I've seen more wildlife in Jersey than I have seen all my life in New York.
Yeah, like over here, we have. I've never seen a wild turkey, but they're out here.
Oh, okay. So you've never seen one in Jersey wild?
No, in Jersey, no. But when I used to work in Staten Island, they were everywhere over there.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm thinking that it might have just like overflow from Staten Island. It might have like come up. But yeah, I was like, I saw a wild turkey. I'm driving around, and there's just like and they're huge. Turkeys are not, a little creature. They're pretty big. Because when I was
they're big.
I mean, obviously, when you eat them, you can see how big they are. But when you see them alive, it's a big creature.
And a tom turkey, when he's like trying to get his groove on, it'd be quite vicious.
Oh, really?
Because he protects his women. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So it looks like we have passed our 10th minute. So welcome to the Paranormal Experience Podcast. All right. So now I have some stuff here. I think the way we can structure this is we can keep it simple. Throughout the week, I'll start gathering some clips, and then we'll go first me, then you, and then because typically we listen to different things. I'm more in the Joe Rogan, Duncan Trussell, and different ethos, and you're in like the Radio Lab.
Right, I'm doing NPR, George Norrie, Michael Savage.
Exactly. So somehow we can come with like a more rounded opinion because you're hearing one aspect and I'm hearing another aspect, and then we can kind of come in the middle with that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That way we can gather information from all sides
Mm-hmm.
and see the perspectives of what I listen to and the perspective to what you listen to.
Exactly.
And then it's the fascinating thing is they're all reporting on the same thing, but it sounds like
right. Or you can hear what your side is reporting and what my side is leaving out, and what my side is leaving out, and what's your side, you know. So, I have right here first. Did you hear the Joe Biden saying to this? Have you heard of this guy Charlemagne the God?
Charlemagne the God? Is he a real person?
Yeah, he is a real
Charlemagne.
person.
Why does that ring a bell?
Well, he's a. Have you heard of the Breakfast Club? They're a hip hop radio. Like
No, I haven't heard of. No.
Essentially, you know what the Z Morning Zoo is? Elvis Duran.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's that, but for the hip hop community.
Okay. And are they based out of New York or?
I believe so. Yeah, actually, yes.
I might have listened to them.
Right. So one of the DJs, like an Elvis Duran, is Charlemagne the God.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And he's like, he's like Elvis Duran level of fame in the hip hop community. People hear about him, and I got introduced to him because I listened to Andrew Schultz. He's one of my favorite comedians, and he does a podcast with him. And he's a comedian, and Charlemagne the God is a DJ, and they have like interesting perspectives on certain things. So,
okay.
This guy Charlemagne the God had Joe Biden on, and he ends up saying to this guy, "You ain't black if you vote for Trump."
And that was lately?
No, this was during the I think it was the 2020 election or the 2016 election, one of those. I have a clip.
Oh, I could believe that.
Yeah, I'll share this clip here with you.
Looks like.
I thought this was pretty fascinating. But basically, what they're saying, Joe Biden is saying is, you are not. If you're black and you're voting for Trump, then you're technically a race traitor.
Right. Well, they've been doing that for a long time. That's why black Republicans are referred to as Uncle Toms.
Uncle Tom's? What's an Uncle Tom?
You never heard of Yes Sir, Massa? Yes, sir.
No, I've never heard of it. That's an
And Uncle Tom, if you see Django, remember the character that Samuel L. Jackson played?
Oh, a house. N-word.
That's an Uncle Tom.
Oh, okay. I see.
A servant to the white guy that actually loves his master and does everything and agrees and it's kind of like, he's happy to be that in the situation that he's in because he loves his master. For lack of a better word, that's an Uncle Tom. But since we are doing this podcast, why don't you look up the term?
Uncle Tom? Is a derogatory epithet for an excessively subservient, person, particularly when that person perceives their own lower class status based on race. Well, there you go.
That was a very benign version of the definition.
No, but I'm saying this is like a textbook definition, but yours was more like a layman definition. I think more people can grasp what you're trying to say. If you ever watch Django,
Yeah. So if you're a black Republican, you're considered an Uncle Tom. You know, because as a matter of fact, I think if I'm correct,
that's an oxymoron.
well, I was going there. What's her name? Our vice president, Kamala Harris said that a black Republican is an oxymoron.
That's retarded. Because if you look into the history of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, who everyone praises to be this guy that one of the best presidents, because he had a hand in freeing slaves, was a Republican, and the Civil War was between Republicans and Democrats, essentially, right? And the Democrats wanted slavery. So how can you, with a straight face, say that? And there was a podcast I was listening to with this guy, Hotep Jesus, and quite frankly, I heard this podcast and it was on Joe Rogan, but I don't know who Hotep Jesus really is. I mean, I was hearing what he was saying. He was very intellectual. Let me look him up. He's a TV personality. I don't know what his
It's funny that Hotep Jesus is a character in a movie.
Oh, really?
That's the name of a movie, Hotep Jesus.
Oh, really?
It's this guy who believes he's Elvis. And they call him Hotep Jesus.
Oh, my God. So I'm trying to figure out. It says here, Hotep Jesus, or otherwise known as Brian Sharp, is an African media personality and leader of the Hotep movement. Let's see what it says here. Huh. Never heard of this. Historica Wiki. That's an interesting. Okay, so it says here, media personality. He was known for his fringe conspiracy theories, which he claimed came mostly from his own common sense, that the Atlantic slave trade was a myth and financially unfeasible, that the vast majority of African Americans were the original Native Americans, that the famed Carthaginian, Carthaginian, but there's an N there, Carthaginian, I guess. General Hannibal was a black African.
But what he's saying is people from Carthage.
Yes, the general. So the General Hannibal, which was a black African, that the Roman Empire was rudimentary. That the Roman Empire was a rudimentary civilization which depended on Africa for food and other controversial views. So Hannibal, according to this, he's saying Hannibal was. Let's see. The vast majority of African Americans were the original. That the famed. The famed Hannibal was a black African. That the Roman Empire was a rudimentary civilization. Well, I'm guessing here what he's saying is this guy is a TV personality, and he has a little bit of controversial views, which kind of makes sense. I mean, how would it be feasible to transport people throughout the world, like as many as they needed for slaves. When they had the people right there in America, if you're gonna enslave anybody, that's what everyone's been doing from the dawn of time, right? You go to a village, conquer it, take the people, and make them slaves. I mean, that's what they did with the gladiators, right? They would just go to the village and conquer it, and then if they like you for a competition, they'll just throw you into the gladiators, and they'll make you a slave or whatever.
Well, a little side note on the comment you made about Republicans.
Well, what I was gonna go ahead, and I have something else to add.
Go ahead, add to it, and then we'll get back to it.
So what I was gonna say was this: the reason I put up this guy Hotep Jesus was because what he was saying is that we gotta really look at what the political spectrum is. You know, people have this idea that if you're Republican, you're racist, and if you're liberal, you're saved, or you're one of the good ones. And really, like you gotta frame it what the Republican Party really wants, what the Liberal Party really wants. And what the Republican Party really wants is less government, right? Less government overreach into your life, right? And the Liberal Party saying more government. More government control in your life, right? So, and he's like, you know, that's one aspect of humanity. Like, okay, yes, government control, non-government control, but then you have other things that need to be encompassed. You know, like our issues with economics, our issues with, you know, other serious things that are going on with the country, like food and whatever, and that really politics should be sphere as opposed to a straight line of left and right. You know, there should be a more rounded approach to politics, because to say something as ridiculous as if you're a black Republican, you're not moron. I mean, you are. If you are in America, you have the right and choice. That's what makes America so amazing. That you have the choice to say, I like this side. I like this side. Whatever it is, whatever side you want, that's your right. That's what we're saying.
Now, that's a perfect segue to what I was going to tell you. People who believe that liberals and Republicans, there's like a line between liberals and Republicans, and if you're a black Republican, you're selling out your race, really do not know the history. First of all, there's a man. Let me see if I get his. Lerone Bennett Jr.
Okay.
Famous black author.
Okay.
He made a book called Beyond the Mayflower. Now, in this book, Beyond the Mayflower, he explains that even though Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, he was still as bigoted as everybody else. Now, the reason he freed the slaves was to bankrupt the people of the South. Because the people of the South depended on black slaves for their plantation. So they had free labor. Now, by freeing the slaves, now they have to pay these servants to work their fields. And by the freeing of the slaves, yes, a lot of them got emancipated. A lot of them went out to be free, but it just took on another name. You went from being a slave to being an indentured servant,
Right.
which means you got a minuscule salary, if that, because maybe your salary was room and board and food,
Right.
and you didn't get whipped.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, in that sense, Abraham Lincoln was no savior to the
blacks.
Mm.
He was just as bigoted and as corrupt. Oh no.
What happened? Hold on. So we having a little bit of technical difficulty. Just give us a second here. Are you still online? Okay.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Hold on. We did say it would
Caroline?
Caroline?
Yes, we are.
The powers that be doesn't want me to relay this information, but I'm going to relay it to you guys anyway. Abraham was a bigot, and he was not no, transformative. How do I say this? Trendsetter who wanted to free black people. He just did that for a means to an end. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we're talking about this whole thing about if you're a black Republican, you become persona non grata to your people.
Right.
Now, we were Republicans because I consider myself a person of color. My roots are black Taino and African Taino, and I got European in me. But I identify more with people of color because if you look at me, I'm a person of color. But we were Republicans all the way through, the early 1900s through Franklin D. Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, all the way up until we got to John F. Kennedy. Once John F. Kennedy came along, people of color switched. And then we became Democrats. And the reason we were Republican was because of the fact that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. But during, I believe, the early 1930s, 1940s, or maybe before that, do me a favor,
I have
Google
to here. I'm already ahead of you. So
Dixiecrats.
The Dixiecrat? Okay. All right. So let's see here.
See, there was a thing called Jim Crow. Jim Crow was how do I say this? Different, but I don't want to misquote this. Let me look.
Well, I have something here. Also look up the Dixiecrat. So here it says a Dixiecrat is any of the Southern Democrats who seceded from the party in 1948 in opposition to policy extending civil rights. So we're Southern Democrats who succeeded. One more time. Southern Democrats, right? Who succeeded from the party In
In
1948,
1948, it was the 1940s.
in
In
opposition to
opposition
its
to its
policy
policy
of
of
extending
extending
civil
civil
rights.
rights.
So they
So
didn't
they didn't
like
like
that
that
we were
we were
extending
extending
civil rights
civil
to
rights
black
to black
people,
people.
so let
So
me
let
get
me
the
get the
heck out
heck
of
out
the
of the
union.
union. So this is
So
what,
this is what
And then
and then
I
I
also
also
found
found
here
here
the realignment
realignment
of
of
black
black
voters
voters
from the
from the
Republican
Republican
Party to
Party
the
to the
Democratic Party
Democratic Party
that
that
began in the
began
late
in the late
1920s
1920s
proliferated during
proliferated
this era.
during this era.
This
This
process
process
involved a
involved
push
a
and
push and
pull,
pull.
the
The
refusal by
refusal by
Republicans to
Republicans to
pursue
pursue
civil
civil
rights
rights
alienated many
alienated
black
many black
voters,
voters,
while
while
efforts,
efforts,
shallow though
shallow
they
though they
were,
were,
by the
by the
Northern
Northern
Democrats to
Democrats to
open
open
opportunities for
opportunities for
African
African
Americans
Americans
gave
gave
black
black
voters
voters
reasons to
reasons to
switch
switch
parties.
parties.
In the
In
1932
1932,
presidential
presidential
contest between
contest between
incumbent
incumbent
Republican
Republican
President
President
Herbert
Herbert
Hoover
Hoover
and
and
Democrat
Democrat
Franklin
Franklin
D.
D.
Roosevelt
Roosevelt
was
was
something of a
something of a
turning
turning
point.
point.
During his
During his
first
first
term,
term,
Hoover
Hoover
had
had
tried
tried
to
to
inaugurate
inaugurate
himself with
himself with
Southern
Southern
segregationists,
segregationists,
and
and
his
his
administration had
administration
failed
had
to
failed to
implement
implement
economic
economic
policies to
policies
help
to
African
African
Americans
Americans
laid
laid
low by
low
the
by the
Great
Great
Depression.
Depression.
Still,
Still,
Hoover
Hoover
received
received
between
between
two-thirds and
two-thirds and
three-quarters
quarters
of
of
northern
northern
urban
urban
wards.
wards.
Most
Most
black
black
voters
voters
sided with
sided with
Republicans
Republicans
less
less
out
out
of
of
loyalty
loyalty
than
than
because,
because
hold on
hold
here.
on here.
Most
Most
black
black
voters sided
voters
with
sided with
Republicans less
Republicans
out of
less out of
loyalty
loyalty
than
than
because they
because they
were
were
loath to
loath
support
to
a
support a
candidate
candidate
whose
whose
Democratic
Democratic
Party
Party
has
has
zealously
zealously
suppressed their
suppressed their
political rights
political
in the
rights in
South.
the South.
African
African
Americans
Americans
mistrusted
mistrusted
FDR
FDR
because of
because
his
of
party
his party
affiliation
affiliation
and his
and his
evasiveness about
evasiveness
race in the
about race
campaign, and
campaign,
his choice of
his
running
choice
mate,
of running mate,
House Speaker
House Speaker
John Nance
John Nance
Gardner of
Gardner of
Texas.
Texas.
So it's
So it's
basically going
basically
through
going through
what happened
what
here,
happened here,
but
but
basically it's
basically
saying
it's
that
saying that
initially the
initially
black
Black
vote was going
was
toward
going
the
toward the
Republican
Republican
Party,
Party,
but because the
but because the
Republicans
Republicans
failed
failed
to
to
keep
keep
to
or to
listen
listen
as they
as they
were
were
initially
initially
intending to
intending to
listen to the
listen to
black
the black
community,
community,
they
they
decided
decided
to
to
go
go
Democrat because the
Democrat because the
Democrats were
Democrats were
throwing
throwing
them,
them,
breadcrumbs
breadcrumbs
essentially,
essentially.
and they were like,
And they were like,
okay, the
okay, the
breadcrumbs is better
breadcrumbs is
than
better than
nothing,
nothing.
and
And
now look at
now
them.
look at them. They're bamboozled and saying that if you are a Republican, if you're a black Republican, you're an oxymoron. Yeah, because basically what happened was during the time of civil rights, you know, they
they
were
were
they were
they were
Democrats
Democrats
who were
who
all
were all
for Jim
for Jim
Crow,
Crow.
you
You
know,
know,
and then they
and
were
they were Democrats
Democrats that
that
were
were
for
for
um liberating
liberating
and
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 giving the
giving
freedom to a
freedom to a
black
black
person
person
just as
just as
much
much
as a
as a
white
white
person.
person.
You
You
know,
know,
civil
civil to be
to be
civil,
civil, um,
um,
civilly
civilly
correct is a
correct
back
back
term, but
term, but
initially
initially
make
make
everybody have the
everybody have the
same
same
rules,
rules,
so whites
so
and
white
blacks can
black
go
can go
attend
attend
um
um
wherever they wanted to
wherever they
go
wanted to
without any
go without any
restrictions.
restrictions.
Right.
Civil
Civil
rights,
rights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
civil
civil
rights,
rights.
exactly.
Exactly.
which was
Which was
why
why
Martin Luther
Martin Luther
King
King
was
was
Hoping to
hoping to
achieve.
achieve.
um hoping to
Hoping to
achieve.
achieve.
So they
So
were
they were
Democrats
Democrats
who
who
were
were
opposed to
opposed
that.
to that.
They
They
they went
they
on the
went on the
Republican
Republican
side
side
and they
and they
became
became
Dixiecrats.
Dixiecrats.
The
The
Dixiecrats
Dixiecrats
eventually
eventually
um,
um,
morphed
morphed
into the
into the
Republican Party.
Mm.
You
you
understand?
understand?
But at
But
the same
same
time,
time,
they were Republicans that was staunchly opposed to civil rights, but then they were Republicans that were for civil rights. So in the 1960s, we went from being Democrats. I mean, from being Republican to being Democrats because of the whole civil rights movement. And ironically enough, it was President who came into power after. I think it was President Nixon actually signed the civil rights bill.
Okay. Maybe good check. Checking the Library of Alexandria here. What if the Library of Alexandria was like a Google or like a search engine of some sort?
Back in the day?
Yeah.
They have more than Google, I'll tell you that much.
So it says here, Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson was the guy who signed it. He wasn't for it. Lyndon B. Johnson wasn't for it. But because he, if I'm correct, Lyndon B. Johnson was from the South.
This says here. So this is from whitehouse.gov. So this is pure propaganda. Spoon-fed to us. Lyndon Johnson is the 36th president of the United States. In the 1960 campaign, Johnson was elected vice president as John F. Kennedy's running mate. On November 22nd, when Kennedy was assassinated, Johnson was sworn in as the 36th United States president with the vision to build a great society for the American people. A great society for the American people and their fellow men elsewhere with the vision of Lyndon B. Johnson in his first years. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see here where let's see. He felt a pinch of rural poverty growing up. Here we go. He was working in a Southwest Texas State Teachers College known as Texas State University. So he was Texas.
He was from Texas? Well, there you go. One of the most racist states at the time. And he was getting pressure not to sign this bill.
That's where John F. Kennedy got assassinated in Texas. How coincidental is that? And it turns out to be president.
But I think we've turned the lead.
Well, so anyway, we kind of veered away from the ad here. I loaded up clip here because I wanted to discuss this whole comments. We actually went in. We discussed it pretty well. This whole Black Republican thing. But Joe Biden specifically said, "You ain't black if you vote for Trump." Here's a clip here. For you guys.
Of course, he's going to say that because he wants the blacks on his side.
Joe Biden has stuck his foot all the way in his mouth.
In trouble.
In an interview with the Breakfast Club co-host Charlamagne, the presidential hopeful made an egregious comment that had people questioning if he's worthy of their vote. Towards the end of the almost 20-minute interview, Charlamagne touched on an issue of great concern. Who will be Joe's running mate?
Black people saved your political life in the primaries this year. They have things they want from you, and one of them is a black man running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered. I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. Multiple.
Charlamagne had a follow-up question, but got interrupted by someone off camera saying their time was up. The radios instead invited Biden to come back. The show's response was off-putting.
And you got to see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
Long way till November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out here from here, and you ain't black.
The comment may have been directed just to Charlamagne, but it plays for the false notion that
We gotta put that.
You ain't black.
You ain't black.
But Google Joe Biden says blacks in chains. It's on YouTube, most likely.
Sponsorship. Here we go. Perfect.
White House now, your vote. And there was some hope this weekend that the choice of Paul Ryan might change the tone of the presidential race. That did not last long. The president and president both taking hits for comments he made yesterday, and Mitt Romney fired back his most fiery rhetoric yet. ABC's David Muir is on the trail in Columbus, Ohio, with all the details. Good morning, David.
Hey, George, scathing word from Mitt Romney aimed directly at the president and the vice president. Vice President Biden, new regulations on the banks in Wall Street. But it's how Biden said it.
I don't think this is it.
Again, right for rules. Unchained Wall Street.
That's it.
So let's see what does he say here.
Wall Street, but it was how Biden said it.
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchained Wall Street. Chains.
Romney quickly taking aim at Biden and the president's campaign.
Wild and reckless accusations that disgrace the office of the presidency. Another outrageous charge just came a few hours ago in Virginia, and the White House sinks a little bit lower.
Vice President Biden is now trying to explain the change remark, saying Republicans, including Romney's new running mate, Paul Ryan, have often spoken of.
I'm not understanding.
What did he say here? He's saying
You got to go back and Google. He says that initially Republicans want to put you back in chains. But you got to Google it.
I gotta hear the
Joe Biden put you back in chains.
Here we go.
Look at what they value. Look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to let he said in the first 100 days.
They'll put you back in chains.
Write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to be all back in chains.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they covered up. For sure.
But
Did you hear? I'm just laughing at it. He goes, Unchained Wall Street.
And you get some kind of go.
Oh, man, I didn't hear that again.
What they value and look at the budget.
He got out of flash.
He said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street.
I think we lost you. Did we lose you here?
Again. Joe back in chains.
What happened? How did you get kicked out?
It's the second time it happens.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, this is an experimental outdoor podcast here, live from Narnia, live from the compound in Narnia. We're nestled between the Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. Wait for Mr. Anesto Morado to come back. We'll use this time to say that thank you for listening to us. And if you would like for us to continue doing this, and if you'd like for us to continue to come up with more interesting podcasts for you, please support us. So go to thepyramidshop.com. That's thepyramidshop.com. And you can find our podcast there. You can support the cast. You can buy. We try to put up new and interesting products, mostly survival stuff. So because the way this country is going, we don't know what our future is looking like. So trying to provide the best things that you guys are going to need, so that you can feel comfortable and confident that you're supporting the podcast and getting something that isn't a piece of junk, that is something that you're going to need in the future. So that's thepyramidshop.com, and we thank you for listening. And if you would like to donate to the podcast, we have a way that you're going to be able to donate Bitcoin to a podcast. And do you know what a fraction of a Bitcoin is?
I do not know. No.
So the term of a fraction of a Bitcoin is a Satoshi.
I said Toshi.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna.
Am I in?
Right now it doesn't seem like you're in. No. Let's see here.
Oh, I'm in now.
There you go.
Here we
Here we
are.
are.
Sorry,
folks. Technical difficulties. We're within a compound deep within Western Massachusetts.
Between the
Lion,
lion,
the witch, and the wardrobe.
So you're going to be able to support the podcast by donating Satoshis, which will be the next currency. Bitcoin's going to outlive the dollar, apparently. So if you would like to keep us going, just go to thepyramidshop.com and you can donate. And if you donate to the podcast, we'll shout you out. You can put a little note here and you can get your message out there to the world. And we appreciate you. And the more stuff that we can do to elevate our listeners, just let us know. And we'll try to go out and go above and beyond to provide that for you guys.
Yeah, we'll officially unwoke you. Unwake you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you were asking me, what is this for?
Right.
And I figured this is a great time. So I'm going to take this off. This is a great time to explain why I brought this out. Because the way we're living in this world, I'm going to have to pull out my tinfoil hat. You want to join me listening to a podcast, and you want to stop the government from entering your mind. Just put a little bit of tinfoil on your head, and you can suddenly realize, the vaccines are causing problems. Pfizer is in every
you interrupt the neural net.
Exactly. There you go.
This is perfect. Now the aliens can't read my mind. Would you like
sure. Sure.
Little foil for your head?
Absolutely.
Apparently, if we're anything less than exactly what the Democratic Party wants, we're tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. So might as well appease them and actually put on the tinfoil hat.
Here I go. Oh my God, it's coming back to me now. Holy smoke. I'm blocking the neural net. I'm officially a knight.
Oh my goodness.
And since I'm a baseball guy, I'm going to do a rally hat. There we go. Oh my God. Everything is so clear.
You're not hearing all the propaganda.
No, I am not. Now I realize why a spoon is sticking to my arm. After I got the infamous vaccine.
So
even the vaccine, Man, I wish I had it with me. So I get, I'm going through my mail, and I get this piece of this postcard talking about vaccines and shots addressed to my daughter. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So we're reading, you gotta be careful. There's flu going on, blah blah blah, this and that. So I'm reading all the way through, and on the bottom, very small fine print, paid for and sponsored by Pfizer.
Absolutely.
I'm like, because I don't watch the TV. They know that I'm not getting the propaganda, so they're sending it to my email or to my
Absolutely. This is how they work. Even on the commercials, I listen to, because I don't really listen to regular radio.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't listen to FM radio. So I'm listening to Pandora, and they have a commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the father's listening to, like, Frank Sinatra, his own programming, and his son goes, "Dad, can I change the station?" And the dad goes, "Sure." So the son changes the radio station. Now you hear some drum and bass, and he goes, the voice comes, that this mysterious God voice comes and says, "Even though your son and you have different taste, guys can do stuff together. Go to the local pharmacy and get vaccinated together." Like now it's a father and son thing. Like, son, can we go get vaccinated together? This is what they're pushing.
That's unbelievable. And I was already like upset when they did a whole Sesame Street special about, come on, little kid, come get vaccinated. And I'm just like, that goes against the whole, free, what's it called, fair and balanced act where they're supposed to tell you, what is it, consenting adults, the side effects, negative aspects of any medication. That's why you hear, this drug might cause you suicidal thoughts and whatever.
You might jump off a roof.
Right. So
it might lead to death.
They went through this whole hour special on Sesame Street promoting the vaccine, not giving a single side effect, not giving a single true consequence that could happen with the vaccine. None of that. Just, I'm doing a good thing. I'm a good citizen of the United States. I'm getting my vaccine. I'm a good child. I'm a good little boy or girl. And it's like,
it's sad.
It's unbelievable. After I saw that, I was like, okay,
doing what I do, to pay my bills. I witnessed that this whole masking of the vaccine, which we went from civil rights and being persona non grata as a person of color being Republican. Now, let me get this straight to my audience. I have no affiliation. I just see what fair and balanced is. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I am not a Republican and I am not a Democrat. I'm right smack dab in the middle. Criticize me if you will, but I believe in a perfect world, both sides do have great ideas. I don't know what their intentions are, because politicians, and this might get thrown me off of YouTube altogether, but politicians do not have your intentions at heart. I hate to tell you. They are fighting for these bills not because it benefits you, but because it lines their pockets. Somewhere down the line, they made a deal, which benefits them.
That makes it seem like it's nefarious. No, it's very out in the open. They're called lobbyists, right? And big businesses and corporations and what do you call it, nonprofits. They pay these lobbyists obscene amounts of money. They're the ones that make the most amount of money in Virginia, right? And they pay them to put the law that they want, to fight for them.
But this is why we are so confused. One day, wine is good for you. Everybody's like, all right, now I can drink wine. That is because the lobbyists won a battle in court.
Right.
The next day, wine is not good for you. They lost the battle in court.
Right.
So the same thing with meat. One day, meat is harmful. It has all these things that can lead to heart disease. And then the next day, meat is good for you. So you don't know what to believe anymore. You don't know what to eat, and that's all due to these lobbyists and these politicians who are getting, their pockets lined. I just want to stress, politicians do not have your best interest. They don't. All you got to do is choose the policy that best suits you.
Mm-hmm.
And makes your life better and vote for that. That's why I'm totally against these people that go into the voting booths, and if they're a Democrat, they're like Democrat all the way down. The way it should be is click, 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 click,
Right.
click. You finding stuff that benefits you and your people, even though their policies are not meant for your greater good. It's just a byproduct of their policy, because in the end, they just want, to benefit themselves and their families. But with that said, and we segued, from civil rights and being persona non grata if you're a person of color and you're a Republican, to this whole vaccine business. It was a sin in the public eye if you shunned the vaccine, and if you didn't want to get the vaccine, you were labeled an anti-vaxxer. Right?
Not only an anti-vaxxer. That's in that respect, I can say fine, label me an anti-vaxxer, but don't label me a racist, a bigot, an idiot, a moron, retarded, and dangerous to society, a terrorist, because I don't want to take the shot. Irresponsible.
A MAGA head. You were
a MAGA, All I said is I didn't want to take the shot. I didn't say that Jews belong in an inferno. I never said that. I never think that way. But yet that's what they're equating. You're saying, oh, you don't want to take the vaccine.
How irresponsible for you.
Right.
You don't want to help the human race.
Right.
You're even anti human.
Right.
If you're
there's one thing being an anti-vaxxer. I can almost swallow that. Fine. I'm an anti-vaxxer. But I'm not going to swallow you calling me a racist, you calling me a bigot, you calling me all these things that I never said. And me not wanting to have something, an experimental vaccine injected into my body for them to take gambles with my life, right? Since when does that have anything to do with race or bigotry?
I've lost friends over it. I have lost friends over it. Because these people who live by these labels, they do something very sneaky, and in my opinion, it's kind of a nasty thing to do. Like, for example, you'll be in a gathering and, oh, did you get vaccinated? And, right there, they're baiting you.
Right.
They're baiting you to see. And once they ask me that question, I go into stealth mode. I'd be like, you know what? Either I lie,
You did get
I did get vaccinated, but just to play devil's advocate, I might even lie and say I didn't get vaccinated. Oh.
And me, I have to be like, like Noob Saibot. I have to be a ninja because, people ask you, have you been vaccinated? And I have to be like, yeah, I've been vaccinated. Yeah, But I haven't. I haven't been vaccinated. What I had was COVID, and my body fought COVID, and now I'm immune because the last time I visited, Mom got COVID. I was fine. I worked out throughout the whole family was sick. I was fine. I didn't even have a scratchy throat.
Well, let me give you this, this whole thing with COVID, which to me, this is a podcast that has
be
been.
careful because that's misinformation.
Oh, no, but check this out. There must be about 1 billion podcasts on COVID alone, on both sides of the fence. Right? And you get all kinds of conflicting information. Now, I want to make sure that I phrase this so that people can understand it. I'm an Uber driver, and I was driving through the height, through when people were dropping like flies. Unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, I don't even know at this point, my car was, hit by an emergency vehicle while it was parked, and I lost my car. Thus, I went into unemployment for an enormous amount of time. But because I lost my car. But right before that, I had a passenger come in. She had about a 45-minute ride. She was nice and quiet throughout the whole ride. And at this particular day, it was a day that it was warm. Not warm to the, it was in its 60s. One of these anomalies of February where you have like these, I guess, a high pressure, and you have a hot day in February. It could be high pressure, low pressure. I am no meteorologist by any stretch of the imagination. But it was hot that day. And she goes to me, "Can you please put on the heater on full blast?" And then she let out a bellow from deep within her chest that people who own the Harley Davidsons would love to hear come out of their motors. It went. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Now I gotta maintain my composure. Because I'm trying to be polite.
Right.
So thank God that this V8 twin-head engine that she had in her chest came out about 5 minutes before her stop.
Oh my God.
I drop her off. When I drop her off, she's sweating like she took a shower. And she's trembling, and her boyfriend is waiting with a wool blanket. And I said, "Oh shit!" At that time, we didn't know what the fuck COVID was.
Right.
And I said to myself, I just in my mind, I see the Grim Reaper, like right behind me. I was like, oh shit. So I go about a block. I take out my fucking Lysol and I go to town on my car. You know, to the point that I think that the propellant of the Lysol got me fucking high. I was coughing up a storm, but I was like, you know, I have to do this because that woman might have COVID. So now my psychological, you know, thing is going. And I'm about 45 minutes from home. And I'm on my way home and I feel chills. And I'm like, stop it. Anesto, stop it. Now you're being a hypochondriac, but I'm getting these chills. And I feel like a tightness in my chest. And I'm like, my God, what your mind can do. I continued working. And I just cut it short. I was like, you know, I still had about 3 hours left of work. But I said, you know what? No, I'm going home. I went home and I got these chills. And my daughter's like, are you okay, Dad? And I'm like, don't go near me. And I was trembling. I went to my bed. I wrapped myself like a hot dog. And officially, I got sick. But I sweated through the night. And the next morning, I woke up and I said, oh my God, I'm alive. I survived this COVID blast. And then I felt great. I continued, right? So I believe I got COVID, right? And I was being very irresponsible. And you want to give me pow pow? You can give me pow pow because the next day I went right back to work. Right back to work. And too bad we don't have a sound effect because we could do like a pow pow. You could give me pow pow. And I went back to work and I was driving. And guess what? Now my car is trashed. Now I can't work. And of course, Mr. Trump, you know, allowed me to go on unemployment. And he did, you know, that, what do you call it? That he subsidized, you know, so I figured why not? You know, I'm getting the unemployment and I'm getting subsidized. I can pay bills with this. And I don't put myself at risk.
Right.
Some time goes on and my mother, who doesn't have, let me see that tin under my mother doesn't have, she's not wearing that. And she's beating me across the head every other day. And she's like, she bakes me. She's like, oh, hi, son. Hi, Mom. How's my beautiful boy? I'm doing fine. Did you get your COVID shot? I'm not getting the COVID shot. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You're killing me. You're going to kill me. And now, I'm like,
my God.
I can't lie to my mom. My mom is my heart. She's like my guardian angel. She's everything to me. And now she's calling me every other day. And then one day I turn on the radio and I'm hearing people are dropping like flies. And I said, you know what? If I drop and if I die from COVID, my mom is gonna just, I know my mom. She's gonna follow suit and she's gonna perish. Because she is very connected to me, you know, with me and my sister. And a thing like a death by COVID, she's gonna blame herself why she didn't pursue the issue enough. And I said to my wife, should I get the shot? And my wife goes, either that or you lie to your mother. The very next day, I went, I got my shot, then I got my second shot. And guess what? I caught COVID anyway. And it was the same thing. I felt one day chills, and again, give me pow pow.
Because I gotta put on your headphone. I have a little sound bite for you here.
Here's a pow pow.
Only I could have landed. Pow! Pow!
Well, there you go. Give me pow pow. Because my granddaughter
Only
was
I could
away.
pow! Pow!
And evidently, I didn't know. I thought I was protected. I hadn't gone anywhere. Where the hell did I get COVID from if I hadn't gone anywhere? I was just home. You knew that.
Right.
And you guys came over and I still got COVID. Boom. I had the shot. So now I got COVID once. I got the shot. Now I'm super immune because I get COVID again. And guess what? I got COVID a third time. I believe I got COVID 4 times.
Wow. And they were saying that they couldn't find. You know what? There probably isn't a reported case of people getting COVID multiple times. Because who reports that? I mean, look, did you report every time you got COVID?
No.
So it's like, how
I mean,
things
when I got the COVID, when you was over with my grandchild, I actually I lasted, believe it or not, 4 hours on this line to get COVID tested. Because they didn't have at that time the over-the-counter stuff. And I tested positive, and again, it was something mild. And I'm overweight, and that's why I got the shot, because I'm overweight. They were saying if you're obese or whatever, you got a high potential of like succumbing to this disease.
It's
But
weird that
the reason that I bring up COVID is there's something disingenuous going on in the United States of America. I was always of the faction that my body, my choice.
It's a conspiracy!
I have complete control what happens to my body. Why are you pushing something that I do not want to do to my body? So my body, my choice. But yeah, there are feminists out there who are pro-abortion, were violating me, telling me that I should get the shot. That no, it's not your body, it's not your choice. This is something for the greater good. But now we segue into this new thing that's going on, the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And I am not a person that wants to control what happens to your body. If you get pregnant by accident or it's an unwanted pregnancy, oh my God, we got a situation here.
What happened?
There's a little rabbit there, and I hope Reina doesn't see it.
She might be inside. Is she out?
He was roaming about, but that little rabbit, if it has 9 lives.
I think she's inside. Last I checked, she was inside.
Do me a favor. Guys, can you guys just hang on a second? Get up and scare it that way. Oh, it went that way. Good. Fine.
That's what it's like to be outside in the wilderness and with true nature, wild things running around.
So back to this whole Roe versus Wade. I believe that you should protect yourself against getting pregnant. But if you do have the choice to terminate at a certain point. I believe that anything after 8 weeks. What's your opinion on that? 8 weeks through 12 weeks.
Well, for me, it's kind of I had a different opinion before I had kids. So I always thought, it's up to the woman to decide or whatever. But now, after seeing the process firsthand and everything, it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't know. I think when there's a hands and feet, I think that you've reached beyond the pale. I think that at that point, there's hands, feet, and a heartbeat. I mean,
Do you consider that life?
I consider that life. Yeah, I mean,
because that's another. If we go and we find a microscopic organism, a single-celled organism on Mars, what do they call it?
Life.
Exactly. But the abortion people, they're like, it's not life yet at 12 weeks.
Right.
So, and this is something that really tears me because yes, you're a woman and you have the right to choose your if you want to have this baby or not. But I just think that if you're having unsafe protected sex and you don't want kids, you shouldn't wait, months before you find out. After you have, relations, and you don't want kids, you should. I mean, don't they have that pill?
The morning after?
Yeah,
they do have that.
So I think,
or condoms. That is.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if you do not use these things, or you're not using birth control at all, and you do have intimate relations with somebody, there's options. That pill, or check yourself before, this life that's, growing inside you, goes beyond being a cell, and now it has arms and feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. But I'm a huge Howard Stern fan.
Mm-hmm.
And what he said last week kind of like made me think Howard is a fucking douchebag.
What did he say?
See, you can find it on YouTube. Howard's comments on abortion.
All right, give me 1 second here. Yeah.
And I want to thank Gaia for providing us such a beautiful day. It's gorgeous out here.
All right, let's see. Let's see. Donald Trump's crew talk. Howard Stern comments on abortion. Howard Stern calls out the hypocrisy in reaction to, oh boy. Stern addresses offending fans. Having a hard time finding this.
I think you might have passed it right there. Go. Keep going up.
Supreme Court person actions right here.
Keep going. Let me see. You may stop. Howard Stern's offending fans on the View. No, that's not it. I thought I saw it. No, start going back down again. Howard Stern's right. Stop. Go down. Go up a little bit, and keep going. Howard Stern slams the Supreme Court for partisan action.
Go ahead.
Howard Stern supports. No, Howard Stern slams the Supreme Court.
Howard Stern slams the Supreme Court.
You know, if guys got raped and pregnant, there would be abortions available on every corner, every street corner. You'd have a different clinic that would take care of the problem.
So Howard Stern said a few things I really agree with. One of them is that if men got pregnant, there wouldn't be an abortion debate. Long ago, back in like early 90s, there was a comic named Chris Collins, and Chris was hilarious. And one of his bits was about abortion. And he said, if men got pregnant, you'd be able to get an abortion at a vending machine. It is absolutely true. Howard Stern said it. Listen, men were ready to tear down and burn up the country over wearing a mask. How do you feel? How do you think they would feel if the government told them, oh, you're pregnant? You have to have the baby. You have to carry the pregnancy to term. We don't care if it's wanted, unwanted. We don't care.
But I want to hear Howard Stern.
Pregnant.
It's looking like it's mostly.
No, I think you gotta type in Howard Stern slams the Supreme Court. I think it's right up top.
This one? No, it's the same one that we listened to.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just passed.
What?
Go. It says Howard Stern's all and baby should be living in the Supreme. Yeah.
Running the country. If it was the majority viewpoint, all right, you put up with it. But it's the minority viewpoint. Now, how much more are we going to take? How much more of this bullshit that some hillbilly in South Dakota gets a more important vote because he lives in South Dakota? Let me tell you something. Here's what I say. All unwanted children should be allowed to live at the Supreme Court building with those justices, and they should raise every one of those babies. That crackpot Clarence Thomas and that wife and all of them, they could raise these babies running the country. If it was the majority viewpoint, all right, you put up with it. But it's the minority viewpoint. Now, how much more are we going to take?
Cycle through here. So it's a short. Is that what you were looking at?
Well, initially, what he says is that the people who are for overturning Roe versus Wade are these country bumpkins, like stupid people.
Oh my God!
But I am probably misquoting him. But when you hear that whole rant that he goes on, it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I mean,
this is why I gotta start doing the trouble more.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, I don't know if you listen to the No Agenda podcast, but they're kind of the guiding light of what I've been like modeling us after, because it's just Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak, and John curated his clips, Adam curated his clips, and they kind of go back and forth. And I think it works pretty well because a lot of times, like John would have one kind of opinion, and Adam kind of like, well, not really. I think it's this, Or you will look at, because Adam, he has a perspective from being raised in Amsterdam, Netherlands, right? So he has that perspective. He understands their language, and he
when he hears certain things coming from that region,
They're very liberal over there.
Right.
But
But
he
he kind of sees things in a different light. Because he knows, like, for example, one of the things that they've been saying all this time is this whole theater of war in Ukraine is kind of like the reporting on it is always cookie cutter. It's always like shoes on the like that's what they're showing, like shoes and disaster on the sidewalk, and missiles being thrown. And he looks at things a little bit different because like the news over there is like a little bit different, and like he has just like an outside opinion.
Right.
So when John will think it's absolutely one thing, he'll be like, well, not really, because if you're from this region, you're meaning this, and this is what it really means, or whatever.
So I like that opposing view.
Yeah, so I think it's a good way to hold the podcast. It's a good way to go back and forth. But I'm glad that you brought up this whole Roe versus Wade thing, because I have some clips here for you. Let's see if I can find them. I have them right here loaded. Just gotta make them bigger so I can see. Extra large icons here. Okay. So let's see here.
Do you see a label over there?
A label?
Cigar label?
No.
I wanted to share it with my audience. This is a good ass cigar.
That's not it right there?
No, this is just the bottom of it. I think it's called. The name of the cigar is called the Tomb Shaker.
Tomb Shaker.
Very good cigar. I got it off J&R Tobacco. Maybe J&R Tobacco will do a little donation to our cause.
So let's see here. Sorry for the delay here. I'm just trying to pull up these clips. So just bear with me 1 second. But I have some clips here that are with regards to Roe versus Wade and the craziness of some of these people that are out there. It's unbelievable, like the perspective of some of these people. So let me just see if I can quickly get this here for you guys.
And let me tell you, they're crazy people on both sides of the fence.
Oh, for sure.
There are some really nutballs that, women who are trying to get an abortion, and you go to these clinics, you can get, these women put their life at risk by these people. They'll jump you or whatever. It's a very hot topic, very sensitive topic, which is why I feel that Howard Stern's comment was insensitive. Because, I'm not saying it should be overturned. I'm just saying that there should be some rules in place, because I heard some crazy stuff after the leak where you could actually choose. This was probably false information, but they were saying that even after the 9-month term and the baby's born, you could have probably choose either to keep the baby alive 10 days before the 10 days.
What do you mean?
Like if the baby is born, you have 10 days to make a decision.
To make a decision on keeping the baby alive. My God.
I mean, didn't you bring that up?
I
know that's probably and most likely was misinformation. But somebody has said that deep within that bill, you can make a decision to keep the baby even after it's born, as far as terminating.
Yeah, so let me see here. I have, yeah, you're right. There was some legislation in California that they were trying to make it legalized, like,
But was that true?
That's a good question. But it's on mainstream media, so I don't know. Yeah, mainstream media can lie just as much as anything else. So what is true these days is it's hard to determine true. And you know, that's
For you Latinos, I don't know if you guys know what this is, but this is crack in the bottle. Coco Rico is the bomb. Diabetes in a bottle.
All right, so I'm just moving some stuff here, getting these clips ready. Took a little bit longer because just didn't have them ready ahead of time, fortunately. But they're getting in over here. Just
While Pablo is trying to find some information, I want to give you guys a heads up. Tonight we're gonna be privy to what is called the super flower moon eclipse, and it's gonna be some quite a sight to see because it's gonna be a blood moon eclipse.
Interesting.
So
What does that mean?
A blood moon?
Blood moon, yeah.
It's the moon is gonna be like the color of like an orange going into red. That's kind of like the color of blood.
Okay.
And we're gonna witness a full eclipse. And I believe the next super flower moon eclipse that's gonna happen, it'll be 50 years from now.
Oh, really?
Right. So tonight, I think it starts at 11:30.
Okay.
You'll, if you know,
tonight being May 15th.
Right. So during the overnight, you're gonna see a spectacular show. Overhead, you know, I'm a person that loves to. I'm a sky watcher. I love stargazing, and whenever there's a celestial event, I like people to know. And tonight is going to be one of those rare occasions where you're going to see a super flower moon eclipse.
That's
Don't miss it. I know tomorrow is a school day, but these are something that you can show kids. You know, maybe they can sacrifice an hour of their sleep time, man. Because me as a kid, I remember when Halley's Comet did his roundabout, and I missed it because my parents had no interest in celestial events.
That clip in here.
It's good that
We do not have that
I
clip.
like the celestial events, and I'm glad that you always put that into our lives. You always were aware of like what was going on, got us into the stars and stuff, and that's part of
40 million.
the paranormal experience too.
Mhm.
We're into aliens and all that stuff. So,
And another exciting thing that's going to happen, there's going to be Congress is actually going to have a big conference over this whole UFO phenomenon.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I believe. Let me see. Congress discusses aliens. No, even better, UFO.
So I got the clip here, so whenever we're ready.
Oh, I think it passed already. It says Congress hold. No, this must have been. No, this was this one coming. House committee will hold. Yeah. Oversight Committee are finally getting serious about unidentified aerial phenomena. I like the way they rephrase UFOs. Now it's what is it? UAP, yeah. I think it's gonna be held somewhere in November. I'm not sure, or over the summer. But they're gonna really dive deep. Are we gonna get useful information? Probably not.
But we got the tip of the sphere. This guy Jeremy Corbell looking to get any information out there. So hopefully he's in that. So going back to the whole disaster Roe versus Wade. I got this clip here loaded. Here we go.
Leaker. I would like to find out who the leaker is so I can make sweet love to that person, because that person is a hero to me. Okay? And if the leaker, people are saying it could be a conservative, if the leaker is a Republican, and if I get pregnant during our lovemaking, I will joyfully abort our fetus and let them know. I don't know if
that kind of says comedy these days.
That is not funny.
Answered your question. Probably did.
It was a little off topic. It was a little. Go ahead. Take this one.
You know what? It's all rumor right now, right?
Been having to look pretty heavily for it. I would say last.
So another thing that's going on in the country is baby formula shortages.
But before you segue into this baby formula thing,
Scott, I was a little bad ready when it's.
I want you to replay that maybe a little bit more clear, because she is saying that she will purposely have sex with a Republican so that she can abort the fetus.
Well, she's saying that the leaker. That she views Leaker as such a high person, like a really good hero, that she would sleep with that person.
And if she finds out he was a Republican, she will abort the fetus.
She would. And she finds out that it's Republican, and then she finds out she's pregnant. Then she would gladly abort the fetus and let the Republican know.
Wow.
Let's go one more time.
That's a mouthful. No pun intended.
I would like to find out who the leaker is.
That's a Mea culpa. Mea maxima culpa.
Love to that person, because that person is a hero to me. Okay? And if the leaker, people are saying it could be a conservative, if the leaker is a Republican, and if I get in during our lovemaking, I will joyfully abort our fetus and let them know.
Unbelievable. But then they had another clip that kind of went along with that.
You think I?
Let's see here. Alex.
Oh God.
This guy this is how I feel. What's going on in the world? Let's see here. It's this one.
Now, not to get off topic, but did you hear that if Elon Musk, finalizes his deal with Twitter, he is going to let Donald Trump back in?
Yeah,
I heard about that. Now, question is, would he let Alex Jones back in?
That's a good question, and he's wondering that himself. No one knows.
We'll find out.
I guess too. I mean, why not? He wants free speech.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's a good
that's a
test.
good test.
That clip in here.
Trying to find here
here
because there
because
was a clip I had
here
here that went into the crazy stuff that people are saying in
California.
I think that lady who said that about abortion and she would sleep with the dude and then abort the fetus.
Mhm.
She deserves a pow pow.
Okay, let me get that pop ready for you.
Folks, we are reaching the end of this beautiful cigar.
There you go.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Pow pow for that lady. Pow pow for you for making light of a very serious topic.
Pow! Pow!
I can't seem to find the clip, but anyway, there was this reporter that was in California, and she was interviewing people
and
asking
asking them what
they
they felt
felt
about
late
late-term
term
abortion.
abortion. A lot of people were like, sure, why not? Oh, we lose you?
Yeah, she did. Let me try to go back in.
Uh-oh. Give you a pow pow now. How dare
Only
you?
I could pow! 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 Pow!
Do not come.
So I gotta find this because it's in one of these Alex Jones episodes, but I gotta find this clip where Alex Jones explains how did Kamala Harris become vice president of the United States, and he goes, nothing against prostitutes, but she's a prostitute. Like, if that's what you want to do, you could go ahead and be a prostitute. But I want to know that our vice president sucked dick to get to this position.
I gotta find this clip. But I have this little soundbite here that went along with what Alex Jones was saying, and this is what she tells
Joe Biden to keep him under under her spell.
Do not come. Do not come.
Oh man. So moving on from the whole Roe versus Wade thing, because I can't seem to find that clip, so I'll have that ready for the next episode.
But this is now a good time to segue over into what I wanted to talk about, which was this whole misinformation governance board. And we're being joined by random audience members here.
They're laughing at us because we have our tinfoil hats on.
Hold on. You gotta see.
Whoa.
We are protected.
Yeah, we got our mind perfectly.
We're free.
Free.
So I have here the head of this whole misinformation, disinformation committee. And who do you think this guy would be? Just out of curiosity, who would you appoint to be the head of the misinformation disinformation board?
If I had the chance,
if you were to guess who's the person that is creating this board?
Oh, you got me stumped.
Well, if you were to look at our politicians as a lineup of Scooby-Doo characters, Scooby-Doo villains, who would you consider being one of those villains under the mask? Who do you think is
Fauci? Well, here I'll give you this. I got a little clip here. Set this up here.
Who is talking about misinformation at Stanford University this afternoon, calling it a threat to democracy.
One of the biggest reasons for democracy's weakening, the change that's taken place in how we communicate and consume information. We see.
And this was, let's see here. I think this was back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. See if they mention it.
That our new information ecosystem is turbocharging some of humanity's worst impulses.
NBC News senior reporter Ben Collins joins me.
Go back. Let's hear what he says
a threat to democracy.
One of the biggest reasons for democracy's weakening is the profound change that's taken place in how we communicate and consume information.
That's
very important. He says the reason our democracy is weakening is because how we communicate and get our information. And then he goes on.
Our new information ecosystem.
Look at his face as he's saying this.
He's smug.
Smug, and it looks like, look at it, he's looking down on us. Like it's our fault that this is the way it is. So then I bring this clip up because.
But before you bring up anything else,
no, this is going into.
So
I'm setting a stage here because what I'm trying to say here is that the person formulating this whole plan of this we call it Ministry of Truth, and searching for mis and disinformation, and instead of like making us more free and open society is now coming more to a papers-please society, and we have to monitor ourselves and stuff like that. I think it's the President Obama,
aka the marionette.
Yes, the guy holding the strings. The guy pulling the strings to this guy.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden is like this, and he's like.
Exactly. But being held like a puppet by the strings. So the reason I bring up is because our favorite reporter, Mr. Greg Reese, has a wonderful report to go into
the Obama Revolution.
Okay, but I just want to make a statement before you bring that up.
Okay.
Because his statement is that the reason the United States is at this juncture is because the input, going deeper into what he says, the input from social media, the input from podcasting, initially what he is saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is because these things are not regulated.
Right. Exactly.
So being that it's not regulated, it's misinformation. But he wants like a more regulated form of news,
right?
So that they can say what's true information,
exactly,
and what's not true,
right. And if you're putting the truth in the hands of politicians, which we know already that politicians
not only have the ability to be corrupt, but are likely to be corrupt. Because I work for a bank. Let me tell you, I work for an investment bank. And one of the things my role was doing something called KYC, which is know your customer. And you have to go into like create a whole profile on every customer that comes into the bank. Now, mind you, our customers aren't Joe Blow. Our customers are, Nippon and big Japanese and American companies, like Google, Amazon, so on and so forth. So they're not
BlackRock being one of them.
Well, I don't know what I'm at liberty to say.
I don't.
But in any case, and let me tell you, they had. I think I don't know if this is non-public information or public information, but they definitely worked with BlackRock for sure. But one of the things that was standard, something that I was trained on, and something that everybody that's in the banking industry knows that does the KYC research, is that a politically exposed person, otherwise known as a PEP, which is a little Easter egg that I put because our podcast is Paranormal Experience Podcast, right? And I put I label every show the PEP, PEP episode 1 and 2. But PEP, in the KYC terminology, PEP is politically exposed person. And it is my job to search if a company has anybody that is politically exposed. If you have somebody on the board of directors that was the president of Zimbabwe, for example, there's an issue there. You can't do business with a company that has a politically exposed person. For example, Citibank, their president was also the president of Mexico. So it was like,
whoa, wait a minute.
Yes. Was not at the same time. He wasn't the president of Mexico and the president of Citibank.
At one point, the president of Mexico was the president of Citibank.
So you think you mean to tell me the president of Mexico, the ex-president of Mexico doesn't have connections? Isn't he exposed and could be corrupted in any way?
Absolutely.
It's a possibility. So that's the whole nature of there's a whole career path that devotes to searching for politically exposed people.
So wait a minute. So he was president of Citibank before he was president of the United States.
No, he was not president of the United States.
I'm president of Mexico.
Misinformation.
Bow me.
I'll get you a pop-out right now. But yeah, so the whole thing is that there's a whole career of a whole career path of KYC that is dedicating searching for companies that have politically exposed people because they could be corrupt. So we know this as a whole, as a society. We know that politicians could be corrupt, and yet we're giving them the ability to determine what's true and what's false. Why? What is the point of why are we giving them this power when we know because mind you, let's say this politician is this time around he's a good guy, he says what he needs and does everything according to what he's supposed to do legally. But we all know that if you're a politician, all it takes is one cartel to hold you or your family or somebody hostage. And there you go. You got someone that has leverage on you, and you're their puppet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Joe Biden is example number one on that. And look at his son, and then look at all the stuff that they're trying to hide over his son. And I'm sure that whoever is in control of the tech sector said, Joe Biden, we're going to sweep whatever the hell your son is into. We're going to sweep that under the rug. Or we're going to make sure your son is still doing this nefarious thing so that we can hold on to you in case we need you.
Well, it happened because when this whole thing of the laptop, you know, they downplayed it.
They definitely did.
And they said that it was all false.
Right.
Now it's coming to light that it isn't.
Exactly. So my whole thing about it is just like this whole misinformation board is entrusting people that we all know to be at least susceptible to corruption. Right? Now we're basically saying we're allowing corrupt people to determine what's true or false. I mean, for Christ's sake, we all know Bill Clinton, I did not have sexual relations. I mean, he lied to us to our face. And we're saying that we're going to allow these people to tell us what's true and false?
Well, I think politicians by nature are natural born liars.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
I mean, too bad Fred Rogers is like passed away.
Fred Rogers? Who's Fred Rogers?
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I would trust him.
Yeah. But outside of that, I mean, there's best of it, or what's his name? Bob Ross.
You know, I don't know how true it is. Bob Ross is like one of my childhood heroes. I used to watch him as a kid, and I loved watching his program. But now they're saying that he might have been a racist.
Oh my God!
There you go with the misinformation.
So here we go. I got this clip here for you that goes into this Obama revolution by our favorite reporter, Greg Reese.
Back in 2008, while the masses flocked to Obama to save them from Dick Cheney, those waking up to the American nightmare could clearly see how he was a puppet to Wall Street and the big banks, and also to the military-industrial complex. Their profits soared as the anti-war movement disappeared. Obama even had an American citizen killed with a drone strike while eating dinner. Obama loved Predator drones, and he normalized the unending war.
I have 2 words for you: Predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
At first, Obama was not threatened by the election of Donald Trump. He had the all-powerful media on his side.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
But that didn't last.
If we fall for
Trump got elected, and Obama helped lead a massive attack against him with the entire establishment, mainstream media, and loyal Democrats. And by the time the 2020 election...
So what the listeners wouldn't have been able to glean off that is they put a picture of Hillary Clinton as well, to show that, you know, it was Obama and the Clintons that were putting this whole Russia gate, you know, as Russia supporting Trump and all that stuff. So let's get back to the reporting here.
Was stolen right before our eyes. There was no doubt that Joe Biden was a puppet. But whose puppet?
I think it's no surprise to know that it's not just Obama, but it's the whole Obama-Clinton machine that has been in power for a long time and continues to pull the strings behind the curtain in the Biden administration. But when we're talking about this Ministry of Truth, Will, what's even more disturbing than the fact that you have all these Democrats who are supporting it is that there are powerful Republicans who are supporting it as well.
Obama and Clinton are puppets, along with at least 99% of all the Democrats and Republicans in Congress. And
you still hear everything okay?
Yeah, I'm hearing everything.
it's not even a government anymore. It's a criminal cabal made up of several crime families and corporations that see the people as a commodity. And now, while being exposed for some of the biggest crimes in American history, they are stealing every last penny from the American people, creating a worldwide famine and provoking a war with a country that is showing off ways they can nuke we the people into oblivion. In Germany, hundreds of thousands of people are demanding that their government stop sending weapons to Ukraine and urging them to move towards a peaceful resolution. While in America, it seems as if everyone is just going about their business, waiting for the next election, as if it's just a series on Netflix we are watching. But if we sit and do nothing, as we watch them start a nuclear war, are we innocent? The US government is training Ukrainian soldiers in Germany and supplying Ukraine with hundreds of newly declassified suicide drones. The liars and thieves inhabiting the US government are starting this war for their own puppet masters. But they are no one special, just old money with centuries of fraud. And we outnumber them 10,000 to 1, conservatively. They are not going to stop. And now that they are being exposed, it's just going to get worse. And so, wouldn't it be beautiful if we, the people, can stand up for what's right and stop World War III? Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Wow.
What do you think of that report?
I think that Obama would render that misinformation. What do you think?
I mean, that's why we got our tinfoil hats. I mean, that's a lot of information to unpack there. But I mean, he did do a lot of drone strikes. He is talking about misinformation. He does seem to have a lot of power still in the government, and so does Clinton. So,
and you know, now that you bring that up, it's kind of like one of my fears. Because what if, you know, they go that route and they do one of these Predator drones in an effort to kill Putin, and they're unsuccessful? I mean, that could launch us into some serious.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, they sent $40 billion more dollars to
Ukraine.
But Russia is insisting that the more you fund this war, the more they're going to have to retaliate. Right? If they have more weapons, then Russia's got to use more weapons.
And then if they keep giving them more weapons, then Russia's going to have to keep, you know, using even harder artillery. Because Russia's main goal was to not destroy Ukraine, but just to roll in there, claim that it's theirs, and then move on.
But the fact that we're supplying Ukraine all these ammunition and all these...
That's why there are people that are saying that we're actually at war by proxy.
Right. And in fact, this is not a Russian-Ukraine war, but it's a Russian-NATO war.
Right.
And then going back to what you were saying with Finland and Switzerland, which also, I believe, border Russia as well.
They're in the region.
And apparently, you know, they're considering first time ever to join NATO. So like they're recruiting more people to their gang, essentially.
You know,
And
that
that doesn't bring peace. That just makes
It doesn't bode well for peace, and it doesn't, appease this guy, Putin, who is.
It doesn't. Not even a little bit.
Now, you see, you bring up this misinformation bit, because I listen to a lot of NPR.
Mm-hmm.
Now, NPR makes it seem as if the Russian people, by majority, are hell bent against this war in the Ukraine.
Okay.
But I've talked to some Russians that, I've only talked to a few, but they're kind of pro.
Russia and the war.
Yeah, because they're saying that Ukraine is a very corrupt country. And a lot of corruption is happening in Ukraine. And this is one of the main reasons why Putin wants to get rid of that regime. But if you listen to NPR, they're saying quite the opposite. And they take conversations of people that they talk to in Russia out of context and make it seem like they're against it. If anybody's watching and you're of Russian descent, or if you're of Ukrainian descent and you feel differently than what NPR is saying, let us know.
Yeah, because we don't really know the Russian opinion. We're only getting spoon-fed what
The television is telling us.
Exactly what they claim is the Russian opinion, but we don't really have a way of proving what they're saying is true or false. Unless going to Russia itself and finding out or finding Russians.
Which is another thing that I believe, I would say about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I heard a report that there was a radio station somewhere in the United States, transmitting actual news from Russia in Russian. And there was an uproar.
Really?
Because of that radio station. People here were like, they wanted to shut them down.
Really?
I don't know if you got access to it, but you could put in Russian radio stations that transmitted in the U.S.
Okay.
And I believe if
I'll look into the Library of Alexandria, find this information out. And don't think you're gonna get away without getting your pow pow.
Pow!
Oh, you didn't hear it?
Only I could have landed. Pow! Pow!
That's what's saying about the president. Those are Bidenisms. Because Biden is continuously referring to Kamala as the president of the United States.
Oh my God! So I'm sorry, Russian news radio.
In the United States.
Okay. Okay. A man who runs a little low-budget radio station in suburban Kansas City says he is standing up. Here.
I think that's it.
Says Liberty, Missouri. A man who runs a little-known, low-budget radio station in suburban Kansas City says he is standing up for free speech and alternative viewpoints when he airs Russian state-sponsored programming in the midst of the Ukrainian war. Sure. this.
Radio Sputnik, is that what it is?
Yeah. Yes. Funded by the Russian government, pays a broadcast companies in the U.S. to air its programs. Only to do so, one is Peter Chartel's company in Liberty, Missouri, and one in Washington, D.C. Chartel started airing Russian programming in 2020, but criticism intensified after Russia invaded Ukraine in February. Chartel said people accuse him and his wife of being traitors to the U.S. and occasionally issue threats. Some critics say he is promoting propaganda and misinformation, but Chartel maintained most people who call to complain haven't listened to the program. Some will talk to me, but others will still call me a piece of whatever, he said. What I'm thankful for is we are still living in a country where they can call me up. Even if they aren't talking about free speech, they're exercising that right. Radio Sputnik is produced by the U.S.-based branch of Rossiya Sedunia media group operated by the Russian government. Its content prompted the National Association of Broadcasters to issue an unusual statement on March 1st, calling on broadcasters to stop carrying the state-sponsored programming with ties to Russia or its agents. The statement from the NAB president and the CEO, Curtis DeGette, said that the organization is a fierce defender of free speech, but that given Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine, we believe that our nation must stand fully against misinformation and for the freedom and democracy across the globe. So yeah, it looks like they brought down Radio Sputnik here. During one recent broadcast of the Political Hour that aired on the Chartel's KCXL, the host and their guest echoed false and unsupported claims about the Ukraine's government. They repeated Russian state media lies about the Russian military's attacks on civilian targets and its destruction of entire neighborhoods, as well as Russian President Vladimir Putin's baseless claims that his enemies in Ukraine are Nazis.
So they're saying that
the
the
Nazi
claim is
baseless.
But on
on
the other hand, a lot of people.
if you go, what was Taken? That movie Taken. What was that movie about?
It was about sexual trafficking.
And who were the enemies?
The Ukrainians.
Ukrainians. And in a lot of movies, the Ukrainians are always corrupt.
It's a corrupt nation.
And from what I hear, this whole going back to Hunter Biden, that laptop contained information, emails stating that some Chinese actor, some Chinese sponsored, state-sponsored CEO of an energy company was paying Joe Biden's son tens of millions of dollars for some energy company they had in the Ukraine. And then he would in turn kick some of that money to his father, Joe Biden. So the Chinese energy company in Ukraine was paying Joe Biden, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. For what? For what? And now we're in a war with Ukraine. Or rather Russia's in a war with Ukraine. And we have to all of a sudden, everybody's up in arms. I mean, we've been in, there's been atrocities in Yemen. There's been atrocities in Nigeria. There's been atrocities all over the world that nobody's gives two shits about. But yet you walk around and there's Ukrainian flags all over the place. In my neighborhood, they wrap the trees in blue and yellow. And I'm like, since when? Have we cared so much about foreign affairs? Because we didn't go that crazy over the millions that we killed in Yemen.
And all the things that happened. in Africa. Or in Africa, or how about North Korea, when we know for a fact how bad North Korea is, and yet do nothing. We care.
Well, that's the double standard, you know.
Like,
you know the atrocities that are happening all over the world, and we're not poking our heads in it.
And China just took over Hong Kong. Said Hong Kong is now ours, even though the people from Hong Kong were like, listen, we want to remain a democracy. You know? And China was like, nope. Where was that uproar and outrage? Or they say Nepal and Tibet, you know, they don't recognize that. That's all China. Nepal, Tibet, that's not a country. That's China.
Mm-hmm.
And Taiwan is not Taiwan, it's China. I mean, the World Health Organization, the chief of staff couldn't say Taiwan throughout the pandemic. He's like, yeah, China did a really good job in taking care of this pandemic. No, we're talking about Taiwan. No, China did a great job. So it's like, or when people happen to mention Taiwan, then they have to, like John Cena said something about Taiwan. All of a sudden he's Chinese and he has to apologize. Chinese.
Oh my God!
Like, where's that outrage? You know, where's that anger, uproar? But when Russia is now, here's the spin. No one knows the real truth. But at least Russia is saying that they're not going in there to just take over Ukraine. They're going in there because they're tired of all these Nazis that are existing in this corruption that is existing in Ukraine. And there's been a lot of death on the Russian side of this. And they're trying to say, okay, enough is enough. Which is why I'm sure a lot of these Russian people are in support of what Putin is doing.
Right.
So it's like, and we have a different perspective on Russians because we like Vanya. We get to see the Russian perspective in that way because we get just by the act of doing that, we get exposed to more Russian culture. You know, so for the people that are Russian people, which are very stoic people, they're very proud people. You know, for them to just cause a war for no reason, I really have a high doubt that there was no reason.
No, I mean, there's Putin has his reasons for going in, and that's what he is saying. Like, he equated the way we took care of Iraq as why wasn't there an outrage
right
then?
I mean,
because whatever the United States does is cool, but when I try to do something, it's not cool.
Right. Or what's the MBS, Mohammed bin Salam? He could just kill a journalist, a United States journalist, and no repercussions. Where's the uproar? In fact, they did a documentary called The Dissident, and it's not available anywhere. You have to pay for it. It's not on Prime. It's not on
because they don't allow it.
They don't allow it. And meanwhile, the director, he did what was called Icarus, which was the documentary exposing the whole doping industry in Russia. Did you see that?
The blood doping, you mean? For the athletes?
Yeah, it was like, I'm not sure if it was doping or I think it was they were taking like some kind of performance enhancing drug. And what the whole documentary was kind of, he initially started the documentary with the idea like super size me, like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to go do the Tour de France natural. And then I'm gonna try to do it on the most performance enhancing drugs there is, and see if I can
actually go from nobody to somebody. See what it does. And in the interim of him doing that, he got in connection with some Russian guy that showed him how to use these drugs. And he was also like a coach in the Russian Olympics. And he was actually supplying Russians throughout the Olympics like steroids. And he's like, everybody was on steroids in the Olympics. The whole Olympic, the whole Russian team outside of figure skaters, because the steroids had no help
on figure skating.
So throughout that documentary, he ended up exposing that this is existing in sports today in the Olympics, and that's what eventually got Russia to be booted out from the Olympics. Right now, Russia can't compete in the Olympics. I mean, the athletes still compete, but they're no longer under the banner of Russia. They're under some other. So, all that to say that this guy, he is a critically acclaimed documentarian for Netflix. He got Netflix its first Oscar. And then he comes out with the second movie, and Netflix is like, nope, we're not putting that on.
Because it goes against the narrative.
Because it goes against the narrative. Because a dictator killed a journalist, and that dictator they don't want to mess with. Why? You know, why is Mohammed bin Salman less evil than Putin? I don't see it that way. But why is politicians looking at that like, oh, Mohammed bin Salman is less evil than Putin? Why is that?
I believe that.
Or Kim Jong-il. Why aren't we going up in arms finding out that North Korea is starving and all these people, and South Korea is right there? You know, they could easily just say enough.
You know that in North Korea, it's so bad in North Korea that people have resorted to cannibalism.
Yeah, I mean, this. I heard a podcast with this girl, Yeonmi Park. Have you heard of that girl?
Yeah,
she was saying that there's people that are so hungry that their insides are outside, like their organs.
Oh my God!
Are out their body. Like you can see their intestines. They're still alive.
But yeah, we're not poking that bear.
We're not poking that bear. Why? Why Russia, which is another nuclear country, are we poking that bear? And we have been since the Cold War. And weren't we allies in World War II?
Yes, we were.
So why?
That, my friend, that question is one that I've been pondering about because I have my own crazy hypothesis on that. I believe, and I'm going to be like ancient aliens, in my estimation. You know, I believe that we were at war with Germany. We must have discovered some extraordinary information from the Hitler regime. And this information is like the Holy Grail, like the Ark of the Covenant, powerful, that we decided you keep that part of the information, we keep this part of the information, and we will do what we have found. You know, you do what you do what I do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do with this information. But don't let anybody else know. And that information whatever that information is, it's what made these two juggernauts,
Russia
and the United States.
Now,
Now,
here's my theory, right? Because we are the Paranormal Experience podcast, and I am wearing my tinfoil hat. What do we call the operators of UFOs? What are they?
aliens, pilots?
Aliens, right? Okay. How would you describe aliens? How normally the incident that happened in
New Mexico?
not in New Mexico. We were talking about that Joey Diaz at Stonehenge.
Right.
What did they describe?
Little salamander-like men.
Right. So, how coincidental that right before this whole Russian-Ukrainian war, they start saying UFOs exist. Remember, last podcast, we had Jeremy Corbell not on, but we shared a clip, and he said specifically that the United States said without a shadow of a doubt, 100% fact says that UFOs exist. They are very real, and we are actively fighting them and figuring out what the hell these things are. Right? And then this whole Russian-Ukraine war starts popping up, and the people in this war are called little green men. Right? So I have a feeling that what Russia has, and what we want, is Russia has some kind of connection with the UFO. Whatever connection that may be, I don't know. But Russians were the ones that we were relying on to get into space.
Right. Which is why the space station.
The Russian space program was far more advanced than ours until Elon Musk came along.
Now, this is my hypothesis. When we went into Germany, right, and we prevailed, in prevailing in this war, we went into German documents and we went through their stuff. What if? Now this is what if we discovered that the Germans had a space program?
Well, they did, and we did. Okay, go ahead.
And in researching the space program, we might have found that the Germans, now this is my hypothesis, as crazy as it may seem, it's mine and mine alone. You can give me pow for misinformation, but this is a hypothesis.
Pow! Only I could have landed one punch.
Hold on, I got booted out somehow.
Yeah, I have you here.
Oh, you have me there? Let me see. So anyway, so this is my crazy own idea. We went into Germany. We went into we freed the oppressed and Jews in the various concentration camps. We find out and we find schematics that actually prove that the German space program was actually bigger than what we thought, and that Germany might have been sending rockets to the moon, and possibly we explored No, I'm sorry. We've discovered that the Germans explored the moon already, and these schematics
could be alien in origin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is just my crazy ass idea that I have created. So now we make this discovery. The Russians make the same discovery, right? So in trying to decipher these schematics that we have found, we agree. You get some German scientists, we get some German scientists to help us decipher this paperwork or these schematics, these things that are so weird and alien to us that could be coming from extraterrestrial life, right? So now we split the German scientists.
Hold on. It seems like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty here. Do we have internet going on?
I have internet.
You have internet? Let's see here. I see that you're. Let's see, loading here.
I see myself here.
There we go. Continue.
So, okay, we find these schematics. We do not understand them. It kind of shows that maybe Germans are going to the moon and into space. In an effort to decipher these documents, we split the how would I say this? The treasure chest of scientists. You get some, I get some. We got the Van Braun guy, right? So,
and a few others.
Yeah, a few others. And from that, we create the space program. But if you're, what's the full name of this Van Braun guy? Warner Van Braun was not a stupid man.
Oh,
by any stretch of the imagination. But he was working for the Nazi regime.
And they said if he was alive today,
Oh, did we lose Pablo? Now I'm the host.
Now you're the host?
Let's see. You know, me adjust my tin hat so we could get better internet.
Seems like we're losing internet here.
But let me continue my hypothesis while you
Are you still on over there?
It looks like I'm still on. It says live.
All right.
So now we split the scientists to decipher this, but Warner Van Braun is not a stupid guy. He doesn't want to go down and persecuted for being a Nazi. So he gives little nuggets to the United States. Just enough to get rockets into orbit. Not enough to go to the moon.
Right.
Because he knows if he gets the Americans to the moon, again, this is going to sound crazy, but maybe 50 years from now, I'll be considered a trendsetter, a future, how do I say this? Somebody that knew something before anybody else. What if the reason that Warner Van Braun gave little nuggets just enough to get us into space was because he knew that there might be an iron sky.
What do you mean by that?
There's a movie out there that is called Iron Sky, where there's actually Nazis living on the moon, on the dark side of the moon as we speak. So he gave enough to the Americans, and then the scientists on the Russian side gave enough to the Russians to get us into orbit, but not enough to get us to the dark side of the moon. So the Russians were trying to get to the moon. So the Americans said, you know what? We're going to beat these guys. And they created a set, and they made it seem that we went to the moon, but actually we didn't go to the moon. It was all a studio. And the rocket that we saw go into space just went into orbit. And then it came back.
But then
So
how do you explain Buzz Aldrin and
they went to space, but they just orbited.
They went to the moon.
Right. So these are protagonists in this scheme, to beat the Russians. Because if you notice, the Russians, don't you think the Russians would have went to the moon already?
I mean, I think so. I think that they would have.
But they never got there.
But apparently I think
they haven't been there.
They must have.
I believe they haven't. I believe that it's how do you say, my words eludes me, but it's some kind of code that these German scientists are going by. Just give them enough. Give them enough to get them to space. Because they know if they give them the full info that propels them to the moon, then they run risk to their own families. You understand? So, or maybe to their own ideals. Maybe they're still Nazis at heart.
That could be. They said that Werner von Braun would hang the slowest Jews that worked in his factory.
So then there you go. So of course, I'm going to tell the United States. Yeah, I could read those schematics. I could tell you exactly what they want.
Just to preserve his
life.
Right.
But in his heart of hearts, he is withholding information because he really wasn't, even though he was in America and he helped the space program, he still was a Nazi. And the information that he withheld is the information that can get us to the moon and possibly to Mars and possibly to other places in the universe. And this is why out of that war we got two superpowers, the Russians and the United States, because they found something. They found like, oh my God, look what this sounds like, some kind of like Indiana Jones kind of shit.
Exactly. That's what
Hitler was
doing. He was
going out around the world, gathering up all these ancient artifacts, and apparently he had schematics, something called the bell.
And there was like in some high ground in Germany. I don't know if it was Germany or Poland. No, I think it was in Bavaria, where he had a complex where he was testing like strange things, and the complex still exists today. And what this complex has, it's like a launch pad, huge round launch pad, right? And then on the border, like it's like a circle, right? And then within the circle, there are these vents that go deep into the earth. What it was for, till this day, the United States don't understand what were these vents for. So it could be that, you know, Hitler had alien crafts landing, and this is what dissipated these tunnels that on these launch pad would dissipate that energy and vent. Because to this day they don't understand what these ancient tunnels were in Germany, in parts of Bavaria. And if I was a Nazi and I was in trouble and I could see that I can get hung, I'd be like, yo, I could decipher those.
Yeah, of course.
And then I can give you enough information to appease you and then withhold the rest. Because I think that the schematics that they had were all written in some strange code. This is how Hitler protected those documents from getting into the wrong hands. And maybe it wasn't an alien language that only these scientists understood.
Maybe.
So
Maybe, or it could have been in like that we call that Einstein mathematics, but MC squared. I mean,
right, absolutely.
So
I mean, I think
because
I was told.
I think after World War II, there was still a lot of U-boats in the water,
right? And they
were
were because they were powered by nuclear. They were able to survive in the water for many years after the war. And I was, I think discussed this before on the podcast where Germans ended up going down south.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's some kind of secret base in Antarctica because, I mean, you can literally, these days it's a little bit different, but before COVID, you were able to travel basically anywhere but one place, and that was Antarctica. Antarctica was like the hardest place to get into because you need a specific, you need to be part of some kind of specific research to even be considered to go.
Well, I want to show my beloved cast a little astronomer.
We got a little astronomer over here.
Someone's hungry, so you need to take a 5-minute daddy break.
All right. Well, I think that'll be it for the cast today.
Sorry, folks, we didn't complete a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
Our 3-hour
programming
today, but we appreciate you guys, and we'll be coming back to you next week.
And remember, if the universe is infinite, then so are the possibilities. Peace.
Peace, guys.